Good afternoon. It is Wednesday, it is Tuesday, August 12th, and we are broadcasting today from me in Maryland, but I've got a few people who have been encamped outside of Alligator Alcatraz. You can see that this is a live shot from there. There's a Florida State Trooper, and down that road is Alligator Alcatraz. And so there has been an encampment outside. We see there have been protests. We know that this week there was a court case where the expansion of a judge has halted expansion of the facility. We've heard about the horrors that are inside of that facility. We know we've gotten reports from members of Congress. We've gotten reports from inmates themselves. This is really an atrocious detention center for immigrant detention center. People are giving up and leaving when they're in there. It's a funny situation in that it's claimed to be run by the state of Florida, but really it's run by ICE and the Department of Homeland Security. But because the lawsuit is centered around the fact that the Miccosukee people have claimed that when you put up a federal facility, you have to, which is adjacent to their land, you have to go through a process of approval. But the state of Florida is saying that it's their facility, so that is what's being litigated right now. But we're going to focus on why people are coming down and how this has gotten the attention nationally. So I'd like to turn to our guests today. We have them for a little while as they have Starlink. We have Wesley Richards, a Floridian who lives nearby, Jeff Dingler, who came down from Atlanta, and Matt Luchins, who came from Illinois. So welcome, guys.
Hey, thanks for having us.
So tell me, how is it out there?
Very hot and sticky. Buggy. More mosquitoes than you could ever imagine. Not right now, but
they're being nice right now.
Yeah, they're being nice right now.
It's a really rough year.
And so how long have you been there?
I mean, today we try to get here. Matt and I are part of an organization called Witness at the Border, or just the Witnesses. They hold vigils in front of detention centers and sites like this to try to record whatever goes in, whatever goes out, and then hand that over to journalists, legal teams, the proper authorities who can do what they want or do what is useful with that information. Matt and I try to get out here every day around 10 and stay until 5, 10:30-ish maybe. But yeah, Matt, you got here. When did you get here?
Yeah, I've been here a week now. Kate drove down from Chicago. I met up with a 78-year-old woman who's flying all the way from Oregon.
Matt, can you speak a little louder, please?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been here a week now. I came down. Let's get a photo of this one. You got it, Wesley? Okay. Been here for a week. I drove down from Chicago, and I met up with a 78-year-old woman who was flying in from Oregon and doing so basically just because she found out I was coming from some postings and said, I want to do that too. And we've been staying in the closest motel to this site, which is still about a 35-minute drive away, 35 miles.
In Everglades City, yeah. Now, Mark, I want to show you real quick. This is what we're doing. There is what looks like a utility truck, some kind of cherry picker vehicle leaving the camp right now.
Okay.
Here's another big truck, Central Transport leaving. But this is a lot of what we do. We record what goes in and out of the camp. We try to look up what it is. We try to look up who the company is.
Interesting. So what are some of the interesting things that you found
Sorry, yeah, it's very loud. As you can tell, we're right in front of the road.
I hear you fine.
And so just today, we saw more outdoor industrial lighting go in. We saw 4 large lights go in. We saw several buses, 4 buses.
4 buses.
There was a caravan of 4 buses under police escort that left earlier. Inside one of the buses, I could see the detainees in orange prison garb sitting in the back. Another one of the buses was completely empty. I don't know why they sent it. And we also saw a roller come out earlier, like the kind you would use to flatten asphalt or pavement.
Oh, interesting.
And we've seen, I should mention, that since that temporary restraining order halting all construction here, we've
Yep.
seen multiple trucks carrying materials, including these lights today, that are clearly violating that order.
Yeah.
And so we're sending that information to the attorneys who are involved in the lawsuit so they can use it to demonstrate.
So are they barred from bringing any materials in, or are they barred from building? I didn't.
It's
Seems like they're barred from building more.
and there's some specific materials. The lights are the most obvious violation.
Mhm. Interesting. So has there been is media there or do they just sort of come at the beginning?
There was a media person. There's somebody here right now, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
On
good.
Sunday, we had they hosted, local faith leaders in Miccosukee got together and they hosted a prayer vigil at 5 p.m. on Sunday in front of the camp. And they had about 80 people in attendance. They had 3 different media outlets show up to cover it. They placed a call with somebody who is allegedly detained inside. Yeah, so there's quite a presence here.
And I think just 80 people doesn't sound that impressive, but I think maybe it'd be helpful just to kind of show what it takes to try to get 80
Yeah.
cars
Yeah.
in this area. And again, folks, Everglades City is basically a tourist town. It's got a population of about. So that's, I think you might be able to see, that's basically the parking spot, is you just pull your car off the side of the road and there's not a
Mhm.
whole lot of.
Right.
And so again, Everglades City is the nearest town, but other than the Miccosukee villages, and that has only about 500 full-time residents. So for folks to come in from Miami or Naples or some of the larger cities, you're talking a drive of an hour and a half, an hour and 15 minutes, each way. So it's a real commitment, and it makes it. Obviously, there probably was some intent to that. Let's put it that way. It's hard to monitor this place.
Yeah. No, yes. No, I mean, it's remote in a strange way. I know that area. Florida gets very once you go inland, especially in August, July and August, it gets crazy. Have you heard any reports of what's going on inside? Have you talked to um are they letting reporters in? Have you talked to anybody who's gotten in?
They have a media staging area, and we met one reporter. I think this was before Jeff came, who she was a young woman, probably in her late 20s or early 30s, who had only been there about a half hour and had to have the paramedics called to help her because she was having a heat stroke incident. Her hands were clenching up. She was fainting. Nobody's actually been allowed inside. We are hearing mixed things. We're hearing from detainees. We're hearing oftentimes stories that are pretty talk of pretty difficult conditions. We've also been able to talk to one person who was working inside who describes some bad things but disputes some of the others. He says that the food is actually pretty good, for example, that there's time for the men to eat, but certainly does not think that it's being run particularly well.
So this was a guard that you talked to.
Yeah.
And so they stopped by and talked to you.
This was an unusual situation, probably not worth saying more about. It's developing.
Right. No, I can imagine. It's very I mean, do you see, I mean, is there anything unusual that you see as far as I mean, do you see mostly I saw the state, you said there's a state police there all the time. I mean,
Yeah.
did they get out of their car, or is it just there to
They're I think just kind of there to keep watch. When we got here this morning, the cop that was stationed there said over his loudspeaker, he said, "Did you bring your s'mores?" Like we were having a camp out, and I think he was being a little cheeky and friendly. But yeah, the cop, they're just sort of stationed there. I mean, these are Miami-Dade police, kind of for them, I think, kind of a bottom of the barrel gig to come and sit in front of a camp all day. occasionally the camp facility, the people working inside the camp will come down in their golf carts when there's like a caravan or police escort. They might come down occasionally, and we see them in the golf cart or the ATV. And they sometimes are filming us, sometimes they wave. So, but there's not a
So
lot
they're
of
filming you. And these are are these
Yeah.
state employees or these ICE employees?
Neither. There's this facilities being staffed by a private contractor, and this is, this is part of what the lawsuit, to try to avoid getting this place shut down. It's clearly illegal. The state and the feds are trying to play off in each other, as you mentioned at the beginning of the show. But it seems that the actual staffing is being overseen by this company called Garda World.
Something called what was that?
Garda World, GARDA World.
Garda World, okay.
Private security contracting firm, and as you've seen reports, I'm sure that the costs here are astronomical.
Yes.
I was doing some math. So one of the things we see coming in and out are wastewater and freshwater trucks.
Yeah, about every 45 minutes we see one.
Yeah, and I knew it was sort of expensive to truck water, so I just had ChatGPT help me with some math, and it probably costs $10,000 a day just to get water in and out of here, based on the number of trucks we're seeing. So it's extraordinarily expensive, and the staff are being paid again by this private security contractor.
Because this was just an airport, like this was just a dead airport that they stopped building in the 70s, right? So there is no plumbing, there was no so all of this
airport is kind of it's just an airstrip almost.
Airstrip, yeah.
And go ahead, Wesley.
We did see some plumbing pipes go in a few weeks ago, being transported in like big underground size pipes. I don't know if
Wesley, can you come a little closer to the
sure.
I can hear you better, thanks.
We did see some very large, like underground size plumbing pipes being transported in a few weeks ago. But we can't tell what's going on out there because we can't see what's going on. We're not allowed past the checkpoints. They turn into a no-fly zone, so the drones can go over there.
Yeah, it might be useful too much to give a sense. So if you drive down this road past the infamous blue sign, about a mile down, you'll reach a checkpoint that has a Florida National Guardsman with an M16 and other law enforcement. And that's the furthest I've driven. I asked them if I was an attorney, could I see clients here? I was given basically a blank white sheet of paper with a .com email address that was.
Oh, they wanted to know when you were there. They wanted to know if you were going to see clients as an attorney.
I asked just if I were an attorney.
Oh,
could I see
okay.
clients just as much
And
as much
and they gave
sincerity
you a
as I could.
sheet. Because I know that my
for this,
colleagues, it's taken them a while, and a couple of them have gotten in now, and it's not regular how they see them.
Yeah. Maybe they did get responses to their email sent to legal@privacy6.com. But apparently that was the email address that we were shown for what attorneys should be doing to see people at this facility supposedly run by the state or the feds or I don't know.
Have you spoken to any attorneys that have tried to get in?
Yes, I was on a newscast with some attorneys who had been able to see their clients. It wasn't discussed in that interview how they managed to see them, but they were just discussing generally conditions. They didn't feel that they had sufficient attorney-client
Privacy.
Privacy.
Yeah, that's the big one. It's the privacy, because they don't have. They're supposed to have separate rooms, and they don't have that, and so it's have you seen that when you see them bringing people out, or do you know where they're going? Are they going to be deported, or do you have an idea?
So apparently there haven't been any flights over the last couple days, and we've been seeing more caravans coming out, maybe just one or two a day. And so what we're assuming is that they're going, and they turn towards Miami. So we're assuming they found that it's easier and less expensive to fly them out of Miami-Dade than to actually fly through the airstrip here. And so our guess is just they've stopped doing that. Now they're taking them to Miami to be sent.
Yeah,
Are they actually using the airstrip?
Yeah, DeSantis was claiming that they are flying people out from the airstrip here, but the Miccosukee who live in the area who regularly see planes go into that airstrip say they haven't seen anything, and
Yeah, they can see them and hear them. That's how close the
Yeah.
camps are. Sorry about that. They can see
And
them
by
and
the
hear
camp, you mean the prison? When you guys were using that
No,
term, the
Miccosukee,
camp.
camps, like the the Miccosukee who live out here. There's
Okay.
19 those camps in the area, and the ones that are close enough, they can hear when planes land and take off. And there hasn't been anything going on in the last few days. So whatever they're saying about flying people out is not happening. I haven't heard anything about what's going on because my focus is here. I don't watch the news. This is where I get my news. I guess this is where I'm giving news now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, this is where, because people, it's experiential. I know my colleagues have gone, hey, at the beginning, they were like, we're going to just go down there and see what happens if we try to get in. And I mean, attorneys can't get near the door. I think their experience was what you were saying, Matt. They were given these, forms to fill out, but there's no door to get to. There's no center there to get to. So
So it's a mile down to that first checkpoint, and then it's apparently about another 5 miles to the actual facility.
that's the closest you can get.
You don't get anywhere near.
Okay. So this is the closest that the public can get if they don't have business inside.
yeah, more or less, yeah.
Wow. So they have that much land that they've just cordoned off.
Stole, essentially.
Yeah, explain.
One of the issues is that this was public land. I mean, as Wesley was saying, he used to walk down this road and pray.
We've
This
done
was
birds down there. Yeah.
Apparently, the local Miccosukee used to use this road to ride their bicycles, to swim, to go on hikes, and
Bring
it
their
was.
kids how to drive.
And as they said, it was public property, but just what last week, these signs got put up that say private property now in front of, yeah, you can see them. They're just beside these green Dade Collier Training Transition Airport signs. It says private property, but we don't understand whose property it is. It sounds like Miami-Dade County wants to say it's Collier County. Collier County says, no, it's Miami-Dade. State of Florida says it's the feds. The feds say, nope, it's the state of Florida. So everybody's playing a pass the buck sort of game to avoid accountability. We're not certain who owns it, right?
I don't think they are either.
Yeah, I don't think.
yeah.
And for those listening, Collier County is west of Dade County, and it goes really covers most of the Everglades, and it goes to the coast. Does Collier County almost go to the
Like
west
kind of
coast?
split in the middle. Miami-Dade starts just a few miles to the east. So Collier doesn't go all the way to the east coast, as far as I know.
So are you getting, do you have any visitors or any, like when you have rallies, do people come in that are elected officials or?
Get visitors or elected officials and people like that.
I was out here one day, just a few hours after the elected officials were allowed to go in on their little tour, but really it was kind of a stage tour. They didn't allow them to see, the facility as it was operating. They only let them see the new parts of the facility. But they have been out here a few times, but mostly they're busy doing what they're doing. It's a long way out here. It's an hour just from any road. 41 goes an hour both ways from here. So
Right,
I don't know.
it's not, but it's still part of Miami-Dade County. Have any of those officials been there or any?
So this is I'm even confused on whether this is Miami or Collier. I'm just as confused on.
It literally says the Dade County Training and Transition Airport.
I think what it was Miami, like they bought it from Dade or something like that. But I can't speak much on that.
Yeah, we're not certain on that.
Yeah.
We're certainly not certain what it is now.
But if you look on the map on the line, it's inside of Collier County, but it's
interesting. That's pretty far west.
Yeah.
That's really far west. That really isn't.
It's a few miles over the border.
Yeah, and that's pretty far west. And so, so are there usually Miccosukee folks down there?
Yeah.
I would.
So what have you learned from them?
Well, the main thing that me personally I've learned from them is to be out here in prayer. Like in my own way of seeing it, well, the way that they've like taught me is what I got from is that we're kind of like a sponge when we're out here. You know how like you're a sponge when you're cleaning things, you get dirty and you gotta go clean that sponge off. If you want to keep cleaning stuff up, that's kind of what I'm doing in my capacity is
And
being here and cleaning up all the bad stuff that's going on.
So the goal is to stay out there until this is shut down.
Absolutely. I'm out here pretty much as I can, you know. I have a job too. I work in construction, so I can't be out here 24/7. I live with my family. But yeah, as much as I can. Like I don't know why I would do anything else. So
And
Right.
there have been some incredible people here.
Yeah,
Just there's a number of people who have been staying
Matt,
away.
can you come a little closer?
You've done it at
I've
times.
stayed super late. I haven't really stayed overnight. But
There's a woman who came from California. She's about 35 and she's done multiple nights in a row. She has a dash cam video in her car, so she was just here so that everything would be recorded.
So a woman from California and drove across.
She flew, I believe.
Mhm.
There's also an environmental attorney who's also got a large social media following who does nights here. She's got kids, but you know she'll make sure that they're okay and then come here.
It's
There's
a
a lot of dedication.
interesting cross section of environmentalists, immigrants' rights activists, Miccosukee indigenous people, and then you have locals who are just interested, want to see it, want to take part. Yeah,
I mean,
I would say it's a lot of badass women, honestly. Like the
Absolutely.
leadership seems to
Yeah.
be some
women
really
have really
powerful,
stepped up.
badass women. We're following their lead.
I mean, Florida, I mean, I can say, you know, Florida, it feels like it hasn't always been like it is now, or in the last 20 years. It hasn't, there is a strong, you know, I say it's like in the DNA of Florida to care about the Everglades and to care about, you know, to understand how fragile things are. And just, you know, and I know there's the environmental part of it, you know, I mean, what have you learned about the environmental destruction out there from this facility?
I mean, we don't know to some extent because we can't see what's going on, but it's, you know, literally the whole reason there is the Big Cypress Preserve, and again, this is in the middle of a preserve. You would imagine that there have to be some environmental regulations you have to follow, and none of that's been looked at or followed. The whole reason that this became the preserve is because it was found that to create the airport would have been an environmental disaster, and they're just building on this exact same site. And I mean, one of the reasons I wanted to be here is that, to me, this feels like one of those flashpoints where this was a place where Trump said, this is an example where I'm going to show you I can do whatever the heck I want. I don't have to follow the law. And my line has been, you can't build a house on sand, and we're going to find out you can't build a prison on a swamp either. And I think we're going to be able to win this one, and we're going to show that, no, you can't do whatever you want. And this can be hopefully a point where people see the law still holds, activism still works. We're doing this podcast. We've signed affidavits and declarations to the court, you know, attached to our photographic evidence of violations of federal court orders. We've done news interviews. We're helping in other ways to draw attention to this place. Pretty much just ordinary people. Witness on the Border is very small, or it's not even a 501c3. I'm not even formally affiliated with it. It's just that most of the people who I've interacted with come from it.
So I'm not affiliated with it either.
And yes,
No organization here.
yeah, it's very grassroots, very grassroots.
Yeah,
Did Wesley just say I'm not affiliated with an organization?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes, that's,
yeah.
You've got Friends of the Everglades, you've got the Miccosukee, you've got Witness at the Border, you've got a lot of local faith leadership. That prayer vigil is supposed to happen every Sunday at 5 now, and at the last one you had Quakers, you had Catholics, you had Jews, you had non-believers and non-denominational. You had a lot of different people show up, and we just saw a van pull in driven by people in military fatigues with a lock on the back. So that's interesting.
are they already in there?
They just
they're driving down the
driving
road.
down now. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the second van I have seen driven
can we
by
see-
what look like soldiers, and there are locks on the outside.
Can we see it?
Another one.
Here's another one now. That one doesn't have a lock on the back. are looking.
So that's a military vehicle that we see going down there.
We couldn't tell. Do you see them?
It was not a military vehicle, it was a van. There's different types of vans that come and go. There's one that we think is like serving as like a shuttle bus for employees. We think they're picking them up and then drop off. And then there are others that come out that we think are probably moving detainees. They're tinted windows. We can see sort of the graded partition that blocks that separates the driver's seats from the passenger seats in the back. And then we've seen a few that have locks on the side doors and the outside and on the back door as well on the outside. And both times I've seen that they're driven by soldiers, by people in camouflage fatigues.
Have so you think that the workers inside are not they're driven in a van, they don't come in their own cars, like you don't see sort
It's
of
both.
it's okay.
We
So you
see a
see
lot.
them going to work.
Yeah.
Is there or shift changes? Are you so you're out there? Are people staying over? Or is it just
Overnight, like
yeah?
us. There are some individuals who have stayed overnight, yeah, and who have recorded what goes on at night. Like I said, these different organizations, at least they were trying to have at least one person or two people here at all times to record it.
Mhm.
We've been pretty successful. It's hard because people have jobs, people have lives. But yeah, at
So
night that's common. But there are some people out here, yeah.
so these declarations that you guys have given, they were used in the court case or cases?
So my understanding is that they will be shown to the judge after enough has been accumulated that the organizations want to make a formal allegation against the state or federal government for violating the TRO, the temporary restraining order. We're waiting to hear on when that might be. Right now, the federal judge is hearing further witnesses as she considers an injunction that would shut down the place entirely, shut down operations in addition to further construction. So I imagine that the attorneys are focused on that, but that they would also want to show that there has not always been good faith exercised here in relation to the court's order.
Yeah, we imagine it's already had a huge environmental impact. I mean, all the pavement that's gone in, all just the wear and tear on the roads from all these trucks coming in. I mean, probably dozens of trucks every day. Wesley was telling us, this is coming from the Miccosukee, that it has displaced bear migration routes, right?
So they had
I'll tell you.
So I don't know everything about it because I only get little bits of information, but I don't make a huge effort on, research, but this could be researched easily. There's articles about it all over the internet. Just a few days after this was built, there was a incident with a bear involving some people, and they had to, deal with this bear. That's about all I can say for certain. But you could look it up, and it's not.
Yeah, no, I mean, I
Point is that hadn't happened.
Yeah, that's another thing is that for decades there have been no incidents involving bears out here.
So there's a clear correlate.
Yeah. To me, it's pretty. Clear.
I didn't catch that.
Oh, what part didn't you catch? The last
Well,
part.
for decades, what's been going on for
Been
decades?
no problems with bears and humans out here.
And then as soon as they build this place, within days, a bear had to be put down, is my understanding, right? I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's not hard to find out. If you look up, Ochapi bear, something like that. Then
I mean, no, it's a fragile. I mean, the biggest environmental thing before was airboats, that I saw anyway in that area. I mean, this is not a place where you have that kind of heavy industry. And when you're talking, and you work construction, so you understand what's going. You can look at it. I mean, does that? So you have some insight when you see what goes in and out, knowing construction. So what surprises you about what you see?
What surprises me about what I see, just the speed at which they're able to do all this stuff without permits at all. I wish I could operate like that. Like, being able to, build things that would, one of the biggest roadblocks into being able to build is the permitting process for us takes weeks, if not months, just for a simple little project. But this, they're able to build an entire detention facility, over 1,000 detainees, just like that, just roll it in. That's the biggest thing that surprised me. How they don't have to do any environmental review or anything. I would be in prison, or we would not be able to practice construction anymore if I was to act as if they're acting.
Well, and also, I mean, the Everglades, especially with hurricane season and all of that, I mean, this is going to be, I can't even imagine with the level of flooding and hurricanes, what
just a few days it started flooding. So
yes.
Yeah.
And
I was actually working construction up north, like all over the state over north, and it was just raining and pouring for days, really hard. It was hard for us to get anything done. And but I was really happy that rain was coming down, because it was like washing away all the bad stuff that was going on here. At least it was trying to, the rain was trying as best as it could to do its job, but it can only do so much. So that's another part of why we have to be out here to pray for this work as well.
So how do you hear about the conditions for the people inside?
I don't know if I want to discuss that too much, but there are some things. Okay, so every once in a while, one of the detainees will call out to like family members out here, but to protect the identity of people, we don't want to talk too much about, information or how we get it. But
yeah,
there are certain things that are like public knowledge.
Yes. Yeah, and then there has been there was the reggaeton star who first came out and spoke. There's the reggaeton musician that spoke, the Cuban Venezuelan, maybe it's Venezuelan, Puerto Rican, I'm not sure, but he spoke at first. That was like the first time that they had an outside call, and then there were some turn, and then members of Congress, and even when they went, you can only, even in their sanitized planned visit, they still had the amount of people in a cell were still publicized, 30 people in a cell. And something for people to keep in mind, having done this a while, is in my state, in Maryland, we don't have immigration detention, because unless ICE builds a facility. Like, as a state, we have a bill called dignity, not detention. That's a law in Maryland. And so because the state didn't want to participate, because this is supposed to be civil detention. This isn't even, I mean, we can say that there is no prison. There is no immigration detention center for people who commit, quote, violent crimes. Most people in these places are people who have, who are alleged to have violated immigration law, which is not, and they're treated out there in a way that's not, that's not conducive for any jail that would have any scrutiny. And that's, but I know you guys aren't in there, and I know that there's reports on that, and I know people are calling out, and I don't want to push that, I get that. But I mean, I think, what I've, learned is how, there's this movement, there's always people out there. It seems like now might even be like the lull, but it's also middle of the day, and, and so, I mean, do you see more people that come in the morning? I mean, now that it's that much cooler.
There was just somebody taking a photo by the sign, a family,
Oh,
a younger boy.
yeah, tourist. It's like a tourist site, right?
And that's one of the things that has surprised me the most. I mean, driving down here, I drove on the 75 South on sort of the west side of Florida, and there are, even before you get to the actual site of Alligator Alcatraz, there are at least 2 to 3 signs from Naples that point you the way here. That has a big sign, just like if it were any other tourist attraction. It says Alligator Alcatraz this way. And there are also signs heading toward Miami that do the same. So they put these signs up to make it a tourist attraction, or I call it a tourist distraction. Like in typical Trump fashion, he wants it to be this theatrical, over-the-top thing. I believe they want people to come here, and they want people to see it. It's not hidden. They're not trying to hide it.
Yeah, whereas the ones in Louisiana that are in the middle of nowhere don't have signage like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So this is a show off, and this is and hopefully, they lose the
It's a test.
It's we can do what we want, and we're gonna make people go along with it. And I one of the reasons I wanted to be here is I think that we can show that that's not true, that we can hopefully win a
Well,
battle.
listen, I'm gonna let you guys go, and hopefully we'll be back with you. And when there's, you know, maybe Sunday, you know, around the time when it's crowded with the different leaders, or when there's Miccosukee folk there to talk with them, that would be great. It's great that you're there. It's great because, as we know, you know, one of the things that happens in these situations happens on the border, happens is that, you know, the first few days you're going to get a ton of media. And I mean, Miami is not, you know, it's not horrific. They can, you know, as far as getting there distance wise, but you know, there's worse, but still it's not around the corner. So they're not gonna, you know, media starts dropping off, and it's important to still be there. It's important to, you know, that you're there. And what does the sign say in front that you keep asking with the flag?
Yeah, so I wanted to show you these. Some signs that I brought down. They're double-sided. So one is, we hold these truths to be self-evident, all men are created equal.
Uh-huh.
And so there's an American values one, and there's a Christian values one. This is Christ, I was a stranger and you welcomed me. But then what I decided to have visible to the road was this.
Oh, I love that.
And then also another one representing immigration and
Oh,
American
nice. Okay. Oh, nice. Okay. Okay, great. Great. So you're the sign stager.
That was one thing that I prepared for when I came down here, is I knew that there'd be a lot of eyes and I wanted to have something ready. And ChatGPT can make you into a brilliant graphic design artist at this point. So
Perfect. Well, listen, Jeff, Matt, Wesley, thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you for being there. Thank you for reporting, and we'll talk soon.
Mark, thank you.
I want to thank Stephanie Buatois for producing, and Insect Factory with Jeff Barsky for the intro and outro music, and all of the people down at Alligator Alcatraz for being there today. Thank you.